BJP Madhya Pradesh. We also have with us Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist. Vimlendu Jha, environmentalist, is joining us. And let me start with you first. Vimlendu, this is a project that was supposed to have been implemented quite some time ago. They took 8 months to implement the tender. Now, this is as per the BJP's own councillor or corporator over there, Mr. Waghela. Then they put out that tender in June, and yet nothing has happened on ground. What do we call this but for criminal negligence? A man-made tragedy, because even the details of this have not been uploaded on various websites. It clearly goes to show they've done nothing on ground.
Absolutely. So this is an absolute classic case of criminal negligence and fractured governance. Imagine you're actually testing water after the accident has taken place, and I would not like to call this an accident because this is actual failure and crime and murder of people. Because you imagine the water, if you speak to the locals, they'll tell you that they've actually been getting or fed this contaminated water for months together. Just that when it became extreme, when it actually started killing people, and right now we're talking about, on your channel yesterday, there was a report of more than a dozen people who've actually died and more than 100 people who are in ICU in serious conditions in that sense. So right now, imagine there's lack of accountability. Right now, in fact, there was, they will all, of course, call foul play and conspiracy, but this is a classic case of a fractured governance. Imagine the budget was allocated, the money was supposed to be, allocated for fixing of this infrastructure decay that Indore has, and yet, it was all, in cold storage. And therefore, rather than actually, distributing zinc and ORS, I think it's very, very, very important that accountability needs to be fixed so that incidents like these don't take place in Indore, and incidents like these should not take place in any other city. Because to look at this as an isolated one-off incident only to be happened in one city would be actual disservice to overall water governance that we're talking about. Imagine we're not even done with air pollution, and here we have a story of water contamination and deaths of a dozen and more people. And of course, most of these people are poorest of the poor people in that sense, because rich and the politicians will actually have Bisleri water and RO water for themselves. So public health, access to public water, public money being misused, unspent money is actually corruption. At the end of the day, the fact that, money might not have changed hands, but the fact that that allocated resource from the taxpayers' money wasn't spent on building the infrastructure or fixing the decaying or decayed infrastructure is the responsibility absolutely of the state government.
Absolutely.
And I think the Chief Minister...
Let me bring in Ajay Dhavla on that. Ajay Dhavle, आम आदमी के लिए गंदा पानी और यहाँ मुख्यमंत्री और मंत्री लोग बिस्लेरी की पानी पिएंगे. सच्चाई इंदौर की यही है. When it comes to the poor, the आम आदमी, nothing will be provided. और यहां तक कि कोर्ट में भी ये सबमिशन दिया जा रहा है कि everything is under control. क्या what is under control, sir? वहां उस एरिया में अभी तक साफ पानी नहीं आ रही.
Madhavji, let me clear that our government under the decisive leadership of Chief Minister Dr. Mohan Yadavji means that tragic incident of Indore is not just departmental, but it is a grave emergency that demands an immediate justice. Let me absolutely clear that our government that buck stops the talk. Today, the Chief Minister has proved this by moving beyond junior level situation. He has ordered so-called notices to the municipal commissioner and additional commissioner removed from Indore with immediate effect. He has stripped the superintendent engineer in charge, and this surgical strike against the administrative lethargy clearly proves that intention of government is a bona fide. While the opposition.
What were you doing for the last 1 year, sir? If your intention is so bona fide, why could you not provide the pipelines? Why were people drinking this toxic water filled with fecal matter and viruses and bacteria?
Madhuji, we don't just offer the condolences, we offer accountability, we don't just keep the pipe. We are overhauling the entire system. Our commitment is simple. We will not rest until the legacy infrastructure issues of 50 years that replace systems that guarantee.
Forget your commitment today. Where was your commitment 1 year ago? Where was your commitment when the tender was given? Why is it not updated on the government's own websites? Why is the project report nothing? Zero updates. The number of updates is zero. If you want, I can pull up that report for you, which shows the rank arrogance with which this entire project is carrying out complete criminal negligence. Who are the officials against whom there will be criminal cases filed? Please tell us.
Technically, the government is doing what we can say that immediate action to find out the fundamental error in doing this work. Amrut 2.0 is the work which was going. The tender is being completed while we are facing some technical error. But
what is a technical error, sir? 10 people have died because of technical error. You want to tell us that this is a technical error that has caused 10 deaths?
No. At this point, why this tender has completed, work order has not been allotted to the parties. This is the point of inquiry, and the government is doing fundamentally to look after the
Government is doing all it can. All right, Ashutosh Mishra, respond to that. Government is doing all it can. These are technical errors. The government's commitment now is there for all to see. Please.